There are families across this country that look just like any other family, but there's something different. A loved one who has made a commitment to defend the United States of America and our way of life. Nissan North America presents Designing Spaces Military Makeover. Brace yourself because here it comes. Hoorah!
Time for us to show our appreciation and give back to those who have sacrificed. This is Designing Spaces Military Makeover, and it starts right now.
Here we are in the home of Stephen Lunt and his little family. Now, we sent them away on a little R&R and are doing some badly needed renovations from the overhead to the deck. Now, first off, maybe we should see who Stephen is. I'm sure that would help.
I was born and raised in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, which is just a little town outside of Charleston. Went to high school, graduated, and joined the military.
Stephen met Ashley at the San Diego airport while Ashley was traveling to a friend's baby shower.
Stephen was on leave from Japan. He started talking to me and said something like, "So you go to college," or something cheesy.
Stephen joined the Marine Corps Special Operations Task Force and was first deployed to Fallujah, Iraq, before volunteering to go to the extremely dangerous and remote Herat province in Afghanistan.
We had received a message from a team that was in distress. They were crossing a river that was deeper than usual.
Having their ammunition-filled Humvee stuck in the river, the team called Stephen's unit for assistance.
The game plan was to try to block the river with sandbags by hiring local nationals to come help us. One of the younger kids that was working for us used a pickaxe that was in his hand and struck me in the back of the head.
Ashley receives a phone call from the commanding officer telling her about the incident.
I was a wreck, of course, as to be expected. But when I got to hear his voice and hear him talk to me, it was a lot of reassurance.
Eventually, Stephen recovers, and now it's time for us to give back and make over their townhouse in Summerville, South Carolina. When we come back, we'll learn about the organization that made it possible for the Lunts to move into their new home. Military Makeover will be right back.
Military Makeover would have never found Stephen Lunt and his family if it hadn't been for the good folks at Operation Homefront. Those are the good guys.
Meet Dino Saraceno. He's the VP of Programs at Operation Homefront. And we linked up with him to find out more about how this organization helps wounded veterans.
Tell us about Operation Homefront and how you became involved in this project.
Well, Operation Homefront started not long after 9/11 to support the deployed service members. We were there to try to assist the spouse in whatever that may be, air conditioner going out, car needing repair, and things like that.
Operation Homefront supports all post-9/11 wounded, active duty, and deployed military personnel with financial grants.
What a burden you're lifting off of these families.
Right.
How did you become involved with the Lunt family? Now, we all saw a little bit about them. How did you first find out about them?
Well, the Lunt family they're a great couple, obviously. They applied to Homes on the Homefront. That's our permanent housing program, and we've placed about 419 families in homes across the country.
Well, you're doing great work, and we couldn't be more pleased to be involved in this project with you. And thanks for the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you also for designing spaces and letting us be able to give this the opportunity for Ashley and Steve. What these veterans have done for their country, they deserve this.
They do, and the result is going to be great, and I can't wait to see it. So thanks again for being here.
Great, thank you.
Operation Homefront is a nonprofit organization relying heavily on donations. To find out more about Operation Homefront and how to get involved, visit operationhomefront.net. Crew, Operation Homefront, and Home Depot volunteers are hard at work ripping out the carpet, prepping the walls, and getting this project on the way. The Lunts will be back to their Operation Homefront facilitated condo in 5 days. So with that deadline looming, all hands are needed on deck.
Stephen and Ashley are the proud parents of a happy, healthy son, Barrett Cash Lunt. What does the future hold for Barrett? Well, you know, a college education will open a few doors.
This is Ryan White with Columbia Management. He joins us in the midst of construction to talk about the Barrett's future.
Saving for college is a major, major commitment, right?
Absolutely.
How does the 529 program and Columbia Management, how do they help that process?
You know, the Luntz have a 1-year-old son, and the reality is that 18 years from now, it's very likely that it could cost up to $250,000 for him to attend even a public school for 4 years.
Crazy.
Could be double that for a private school.
Wow.
And additionally, more and more financial aid is coming in the form of student loans. So you have students graduating with thousands and thousands of dollars of debt.
529 is an investment strategy designed to help families like the Luntz save now for the cost of college in the future.
The reason why 529 plans are a smarter way to save for college is because of the significant tax implications, the flexibility, and the control that the plans offer. You can use the money in a 529 plan to finance education at any qualified educational institution across the country and even internationally, and the money can be used to pay for a wide variety of college expenses.
The money can be accessed at any point. The account holder has daily access, liquidity, and control.
Which is nice when it comes time to distribute the money, because unlike some other college investment vehicles where the assets in the account would transfer to the beneficiary when they turned 18, 529 plans keep those assets under control of the account holder so that he can distribute those funds, and you have the flexibility to change the beneficiary to another member of the family, or potentially let that account keep earning for a family member to be named later.
What are the challenges that military families face specifically saving for college? The 529 plan, how does that benefit?
The 529 plan allows for a family, even a military family, to make subsequent contributions at regulated intervals or however often they have the flexibility to, and can provide them with in-state tax benefits depending on their residence state.
529 assets can be used at any higher education institution that's eligible, nationwide, and even some schools internationally.
This includes public and private colleges and universities, 2-year schools, community colleges, most vocational and technical schools, and even grad programs like medical school, law school, and even MBA programs are all qualified.
You mentioned earlier the tax benefits of having this 529 plan. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So earnings in a 529 plan grow free of federal taxes. And assuming that you use that money for college expenses down the road, then your withdrawals are also free of federal taxes, and in some cases, state taxes as well.
There's no age or income restriction on the 529 plan. The funds can be used to pay for a wide variety of college expenses, such as tuition, room and board, books, and other supplies mandated by the school.
Now, Columbia Management has a 529
We
plan
do.
created specifically by them. Tell us about that.
So it is the Columbia Management Future Scholar 529 College Savings Plan, and it offers a variety of benefits for those planning to save for a loved one's education. Assets in the plan, of course, grow tax-free, as we already talked about. We also offer a wide variety of investment options, and we even feature other money managers that are industry leaders so that someone can really find a portfolio that's truly right for them and their investment objectives.
Well, a lot of stuff that we learned here today, and for anybody who has more questions, like I'm sure there's always more questions, how can we find out more?
Absolutely. They can go to columbiamanagement.com/future scholar, find out more information on our plan and 529s in general right there.
If you're working under the strict supervision of the Gunny, double time is the theme of the day.
Did you bring your blankie today and have your little nappy poo, huh? You know what, I think with a little military guidance and leadership, you people might amount to something yet.
While the downstairs crew is making progress, the Gunny seems to have an issue with the pacing of the flooring install upstairs.
Okay, well, it was calculated that this room would take approximately an hour and a half for 2 guys to do. But that was probably because that was for 2 normal people. Military families need to have their own security and protection. And that should start with life insurance. Affordable and reliable term life insurance is available to these families along with other benefits and services thanks to the Military Benefit Association. Pay attention.
Roy Gibson is here to tell us a little bit more about life insurance tailored for our military personnel. Roy, it's so great for you to be here. Give us a little bit of a background, the history, and the mission of MBA.
Be glad to, Art. Military Benefit Association was founded originally back in 1956 as a nonprofit called the Armed Forces Enlisted Personnel Benefit Association. And they were formed specifically for the purpose of sponsoring quality, affordable life insurance for enlisted service members, because at that time, enlisted service members were considered to be a high risk.
Eventually, the name was shortened to Military Benefit Association, and over time, the eligibility was expanded to include commissioned officers, honorably discharged veterans, and ready reservists, their spouses, and families.
Today, we've got about 90,000 members, and we still have the same mission as we had back then, to sponsor quality, affordable term life insurance for our members.
Well, we all know how important life insurance is in general, but it's especially important when you're in the military, correct?
Well, it is. It's important because, number one, of the job they have to do.
High risk, yeah.
Well, it is high risk, and there are not a lot of civilian insurance companies out there that are going to give them a policy with a war clause in it, or with exceptions for military aircraft accidents or anything like that.
You have military experience as well. What are you most proud of?
Well, I think what drew us to this project, I am a veteran, and I have a special affinity for military members, active duty, retirees, and veterans. And I think it's important to see veterans helping veterans.
Life insurance just isn't for people with families. It should be of interest to anybody who is responsible for financially supporting someone else during their lifetime, like elderly parents or special needs siblings.
If you know you will be supporting something like that later on, even if you don't have your own wife and children, you need to have life insurance to support the other members of that family.
What about the active military members that are actually deployed right now in the hot zones around the world?
They're covered. We have no war clauses, no exclusions for military aircraft accidents. We don't have any increase in premium or decrease in benefit. When the service members go overseas into combat zones, they're completely covered.
During the campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq, 175 MBA-insured military members were killed in action. Not one claim was contested. So is life insurance affordable? Obviously, on a tight budget, on a military family budget, resources can be stretched. Can they afford it?
Well, they can, and what we sponsor is group term life insurance. It's probably the most inexpensive type of life insurance you can get.
Well, you put it into perspective how affordable it is, but how can you stress to somebody that may be on the fence wondering if they need it or not?
During your peak earning years, you need to be covered, because that's when, if you disappear, that the family is going to need to carry on for the longest period of time, pay the house off, pay the car off, get the kids to college.
How do we get a hold of you?
Well, on the website, you go to militarybenefit.org.
Besides telling us about life insurance, the MBA folks committed to help making over the Luntz backyard. The outdoor furniture and a grill are picked up at Home Depot, and Garden Elegance Landscaping is working on the backyard. When we come back, the Gunny will be talking guns.
Who's in charge of painting over here? There's a big spot left. What, is this supposed to paint itself over here?
Having a gun as part of your home defense is a right, but it is vitally important that gun safety rules are followed to the T. The Gunny personally sat down with Kai Wagner of Glock.
Kai, I'm going to cut right to the chase. Normally, when the subject is guns and home defense, there's a bunch of old guys sitting around talking. What about the ladies? More and more women nowadays are embracing the idea of home defense. Tell me about it.
Well, that's definitely true. We are seeing that more and more women are interested in both self-defense and home defense, but we're also seeing an overall rise in interest in general firearms, sometimes just for fun. But on the topic of home defense, it's very important that anyone in the household is properly trained on firearm safety education.
Glock actively works all year long with a lot of different partners in the community to raise public awareness for firearm safety education.
We recently led a campaign called SAFE, which stands for Serious About Firearm Education. In this campaign, we asked folks to go on our site and to pledge their own commitment to personal gun safety and education. And we had a lot of partners in this. The Marietta Police Department was one of these fundamental partners.
You know, I can't think of a better way to reach out to people about gun safety. Now, you brought along a handgun.
I did. This is our G19. This is our most popular handgun.
And it's a lovely gun. Now, I know that every time we sell a Glock, we also give the person that buys the Glock a gun safety device, which is this right here. And it's so simple. You know, there's nothing complicated about gun safety. If the gun is not in use, you simply run the safety lock through the gun, so it totally disables that gun.
Absolutely, you cannot shoot it at this point.
No, it's totally disabled. But if this is your gun and you have the key, it takes about 2 seconds and you're back in business. You can use this gun. If I didn't know anything about guns, how do I go about learning about the safety and how to use this gun properly?
Sure, there are lots of different ways. You can buy the gun first or you can buy the gun after taking courses. Now, these courses are readily available at a very reasonable fee at your local gun range and sometimes at your local dealers. And you can go to these ranges and you can learn all about firearm safety. You can learn how to shoot, how to hold a pistol, and really become comfortable with your firearm. That's the second most important thing, safety number one, and comfort and practice number two. Going to the range, it's great for practicing, but it's also very, very fun. It can be an enjoyable family experience or an awesome way to change up date night.
As far as I'm concerned, the most important aspect of owning a firearm is knowing the safety rules and regulations. How do you handle this gun safely? Rule number one is what?
Rule number one is treat every firearm as if it is loaded.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, number two, what's number two?
Number two is always be sure of your target.
Okay, so if you've got a target out there and you're going to shoot at that target, you want to make sure that that target is absolutely safe.
Correct, which brings us to number three, which is to make sure that when you're pointed at your target, to make sure that there isn't anything behind or beyond it that you don't intend to shoot.
Yeah.
Number four is keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot, and you're exactly right.
There you go. So simple. Okay, so I'm pretty safe with firearms. What if somebody wants to buy a firearm for home defense and they have never owned a firearm before and they need to learn? Where would they go?
To find out more about Glock pistols and more about gun safety and much, much more, you can go to Glock.com. I recommend clicking on the Glock University. You can get tips from the expert shooters of Team Glock, and they teach how to clean guns, how to handle guns. They'll go over the safety rules again, and they'll teach you general firearms information.
Okay, that's great. Kai, thanks for being here with us today.
It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
The team has made a lot of progress today and is on track to complete making over this Operation Homefront provided condo before the Lunts return. Crew and volunteers are working hard on the downstairs, upstairs, and backyard.
Hey folks, we're just getting started. There's a lot more to be done. Check out part 2 of Designing Spaces Military Makeover, brought to you by Nissan North America. If you really care, then be there. Hoorah! Families across this nation are turning to, oh God.
For more information about anything you've seen on today's show or to find out how to be part of the show, log on to designingspaces.tv. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/dspacestv. Or friend us on Facebook. Type in the words Designing Spaces. Connect with us on Pinterest to follow all of our design ideas and share yours with us. You can visit these websites to learn more about the participants on this edition of Designing Spaces.